The story of the film is at first about a couple who are happy and enjoying each other's company at the pub which they regularly visit. All is good between the two until the female finds she wants something different. She notices other people and introduces another male to a relationship called a polyamorous relationship. The other male wants to stay with his other half, so goes along with it. He seems happy but is secretly hating it all and stores his feelings about it all, until the final moment when he snaps at the bar and hits the other guy to then storm out of the pub and leave his life forever. One restriction that stood out to me was the position of where the two actors would sit as they sat on the side of the wall. We could only therefore short them one side. Another was dealing with the second male actor having to fall down onto the ground due from the punch. We worked out by putting loads of cushions onto the floor to ensure his fall would be cushioned and that any danger was minimalised to the maximum. As I was a director, I wanted to experiment with the emotion of love and wanted to relate it to something that was relevant in today's society. At first we thought about having just a normal couple, but after watching the news I wanted to make a film about the topic of polyamorous. Manchester by the Sea, about how its main character is torn from the past and how he has to fight as he has to look after his brother's son who's fatherless. The story of how the emotions of the event affect him during the present time really interested me. My cultural consideration was the topic of polyamorous relationships and how the fear within that culture is the potential of being jealous of the fact your partner is being shared with someone else. I researched their culture by watching BBC documentaries which interviewed these people and asked on their thoughts and beliefs about love and how it is experimenting it and the problems they face. I applied the hero as the monster plot that I read in the 7 Basic books plot. The plot of the hero commits immoral behaviour, however his ending isn't always going to be pure malicious behaviour. In my film, I wanted the audience to sympathise with the character, to see him in love and happy, to jealous and distraught, causing him to hit the other guy. I wanted the audience to question who they stood for in that moment. My role contributed to how the mood of the film went, as I would help with the shot list. I also directed the actors on how I wanted them to act and move them on set. I also asked for the shots seen in the film to be shot, as I wanted to help decide what was seen from what angle. We had a storyboard of the film so we could roughly get a visual idea of how each scene would play out, as from there it helped everyone out visually to see what I sort of wanted. The DP also had a schedule of what each shot would be done and how fast it should be. Understanding each other's roles was relatively good and healthy. Me and the DP would talk to each other about what was needed with which shots, while the others who did jobs as producer and sound would not jump in to keep the conversation clear and less cluttered. As director, I would communicate with the actors and try and get the best performance I could out of them. After breaking the ice with them, we got on well, I believed, and talked with each other after set. At first I was confused on what shots were next and followed the DP's shot list. Perhaps next time I should communicate more. Get a copy of the shot list to have one myself so that I wouldn't have to be asking on what shot we had to do next. Get the producers to produce a call sheet which could make organisation much easier. I personally felt the story had a potential good structure. The story begins with the characters being in a normal atmosphere to then having a change by the third character who disrupts the nature of things. It results in the final ending of the characters not being the same again and having changed from the start. As well, the story is very relative to society and it goes on an interesting culture of sharing lovers. I thought I would address the subject in a more interesting way instead of showing polyamorous so plainly and baby feeding the audience. I realised I want my stories, if I was to direct again, to give the audience a deeper thinking of the film rather than baby feeding them the plot. I feel this film helped them take a step into the right direction of getting a better story idea. My target audience was trying to go for late teens/early adults. Although this could have been for older ages, I thought the look of the film wasn't appealing enough to the older generation. This film shows the struggles of love can be for different people, and I thought this would appease for those who were still fresh with their love. I believe I reflected the culture I was making a film about to be quite well. I watched documentaries and articles about it and saw one of those in the relationships, opinions and feelings. I want to represent those who have the fear of becoming jealous of their partners being with the same person, being shared with the same other person. I need to go into more with how I want to convey my film. Instead of black and white, I think I should think of more ways to portray a story that makes the audience think about what's just happened instead of using their eyes to just watch the film. Although I don't want to direct anymore, it helps me gain confidence for when I want to DP in the future. Our story was about two friends who were hanging around the old charity shop and playing around with a Polaroid that they shouldn't be touching. The two muck about with the camera and take photographs until they take one of themselves. The main character views a selfie to find that her friend has gone. She looks up to see her friend and she's gone missing. The suspense builds until she disappears due to her haunted friend taking her away. A restriction was the fact that some footage went missing. I dealt with it by having to edit my way around the problem. This meant the ending wasn't how the director may have wanted it, but I was able to be creative with the process. We thought about creepy instances, and the director believed having a moment of creepiness when the two girls take the photograph and finding one is missing. We all put down a variation of ideas, but ultimately it was the director's choice what went and didn't. We then mind mapped and went to locations to see what was mise en scene. A short film on Vimeo called Polaroid inspired the film director to have the same vibe as that film, to use the suspense of music and restriction of what the audience could see to help build up tension. The director didn't want a jump scare, but more a creep style and not an ending that's meant to make you scream. One was the phase of horror, how a popular form is to provide suspense and to have no jump scare, such as in Black Mirror, as it uses psychological horror. We researched Alfred Hitchcock's theory of suspense. His proposition of there is difference in surprise and suspense. If you let the audience know certain things during the film that the character doesn't, it gives the audience a period of suspense. Whereas if you put the audience in the same shoes as the character and the event happens, the audience would only have a few minutes to take in what happened. This is what we would wanting to look into, using suspense to play with our audience, such as the build of suspense when the character is moving towards the sound that she heard. As editor, I depicted how the film all came together. This time I didn't have the director viewing my rough cuts, so therefore I had all reins of the film. I was therefore able to control the mood of the film. I made loads of rough cuts, and I was able to view them all and pick which one I preferred the best. The location set was great. Location hunting as a group went well, and I feel we found a great place to film. Preparation. There wasn't a clear and finished shot list made by a DP. They also hadn't seen the location beforehand and so could only visualise what they wanted when they got there. Even then, they still wasn't sure on what they wanted. Communication. Talking to the groups before set wasn't great in my opinion. We should have met up in person more often, I believe, to talk about the film together and come up with a better overall, more appealing film. I would want to have more active role in helping out on student films. Even if I was the editor, I wish I could have helped plan the shot list and try and do as much as I could. However, it isn't my role, so I thought the situation may be a one-off experience and something I couldn't have changed. What worked, I believe, was the mise-en-scene and the music composition. The location looked great as well for a creepy charity place, which had been a great open space to show the character's separation from other people. The build of music also helped with the build-up to the ending of the film. What didn't was the story itself. It was very bland, with the ending missing something that needed to throw the audience off. The preparation wasn't great either, resulting in figuring what worked on the shot day. I've learned to prepare as much as you can to give yourself space to improvise. I've also learned to back up footage onto hard drives and have a DIT on set. My storytelling has improved my editing, and seeing what view from the camera makes sense next was a challenge for me, as the footage was all over the place. Target audience was young teens. The actors were quite young looking, and so it was relatable to those watching and imagining being with their friends in that situation. I believe we needed to research more into the subgenre of horror and take notes from films into that category to make the effect we wanted with the audience to be more impactful. I have understood to make sure always people are doing their roles properly, but also lets me filter down who I want to work with. It was a good challenge to have to edit. It helped me with my skill of trying to piece a story together and for it to make sense and to not have unneeded parts in the film.